Sometimes when I mention white people and the way that certain white people will behave, sometimes the white people that I'm cool with, the white people that agree with a lot of what I'm saying, will get upset with me and say, why do you vilify all white people? Well, listen closely, because I'm not vilifying all white people, and you shouldn't get upset about it. And I'll tell you why you shouldn't get upset about it is the same way that sometimes white people, especially right-wing white people, will mention diversity hires, and sometimes people are hired just because of the color of their skin or just because they're LGBT. Well, that's something I don't get offended about at all, because I know what you're talking about. I see that too sometimes, and I also think it's bullshit. So just like I don't get in my feelings when you're talking about that, because I'm like, yeah, that is an actual thing. Is the same way when I'm addressing liberal white people, the right-wing white people that I know that are cool to let me have my voice, are cool to allow me to say the things that I feel need to be said, shouldn't get in their feelings, because obviously I'm not talking about you. One of the reasons that I'm talking about this is because it's something that happens so often with people that think they're open-minded, people that think that they're very liberal, people that think that they speak for people of color. Sometimes you overstep, and sometimes you really do try to speak for us instead of allowing us to speak for ourselves and you having our backs, which if you choose to do neither, I'm fine with that too. But if you claim to really be trying to uplift the voices of people of color, LGBT people, and then suddenly try to shut us down, you're working opposite of the way that you say that you're working. And one of the ways this displayed itself in my personal experience was when I had mentioned that I was voting for Donald Trump. When I mentioned that I was voting for Donald Trump, I was told by some liberal white people, because I am Mexican American if you didn't know, I was told, yeah, well, I hope you're ready for you and your family to go back to Mexico. Well, I don't know what you mean by go back to Mexico, because I'm not from Mexico. My father is first generation here, meaning he was born in this country. My mother's family was actually from Arizona. If you know the history of Arizona, Arizona wasn't established as a state until 1912. My mother's side of the family was actually in Arizona when the land was purchased, which is one of the things that my mom sometimes jokes with us about, meaning that we are indigenous. So when you say BIPOC, liberal people, black, indigenous, people of color is what that stands for, I am by definition indigenous. My mother's side of the family has been in Arizona since before it was even a state, probably been there since everybody was running around in loincloths or whatever it is people were wearing back in those days. So when you're telling me that me and my family better be ready to go back to Mexico, you don't even realize how racist you're being, because really what you're saying is that a person of my skin color can't actually be American, that you as a white person will always be more American than me, and there's always an option for me to go back to a foreign land, not realizing that this is my land.